Junk Journal July 2025 and also this channel, Serendipity Intended. My name is Tracy Ann and we are here on day 6, which is thankful. And I had a little bit of trouble coming up with an idea, not a lot, but a little bit of trouble coming up with an idea for the journal. I've got some bits and pieces gathered here, and I want to clear them off first and just talk a little bit about how I came up with this idea and why I'm going the direction that I'm going with thankful. So let me see if I can do this without spilling everything all over the place. Okay. All right, so I showed this journal in one of the first videos that I put together for this series as a bit of an inspiration for kind of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to play this month during the challenge. And when I was thinking about the prompt thankful, I came up with a couple of ideas that were fine. And then I thought what I kept coming back to was how thankful I am for the opportunity in the summer. As a teacher, I have summers off from school, and July is a time for me to just enjoy my journaling. And it's one of the reasons I love Junk Journal July so much. And I don't know that I could or would want to produce every single day all year long, but Junk Journal July really gives me an opportunity to reinvigorate myself and kind of get some of that pent-up creativity out and back. And I realized how grateful, how thankful I am for this craft and this hobby, and for the larger junk journaling community, the artists that inspire me and the people that choose to respond to my own work. And so that was sort of the foundation for what I'm going to do on my page. But I wanted to show you some personal visual inspiration as well, just to give you a sense of what's in my head as I go through and create the journal. So this is from August of 2013 to December 2014. So this is over 10 years ago, and this is how I used to journal all the time. I'd gotten away from that a little bit, and I miss this, and so I'm striving to bring some of this back into my journaling. So this is a page that I did, just lots of notes, doing some planning for Thanksgiving, but you can see little bits and pieces all over the page, a little bit of a bullet journal kind of look, definitely an insert. Then here, I wanted to share this because lots of my own doodling and creating using some Zentangle techniques and just, pen and paper to create something that is, I think, really beautiful and interesting. And then this page, incorporating random bits and pieces to write about what was going on in my head, and some of these like bigger words kind of calling out, and also maybe this little cut through. And then the last thing I wanted to show was this, just because, again, sort of these bright, happy colors and a little bit of the Zentangle look here, the call out words again. So these are the sort of inspirations that I have for this page. So let's just go ahead and get started. Set this aside. bring over the page that I decided to use. So again, prompt for day 6 is thankful. And I decided to use this page. The original book has this here, this introduction, and I'm toying with the idea of using this page to sort of write about the challenge and how I do the challenge each year and looking forward to the challenge. So just kind of using this to introduce things, even though it's a couple pages in. And I'm feeling a single page today. So I'm just going to use this page here. I did go ahead already and pre-cut a piece of paper from just a notebook that I have. It's got a little bit of a dot grid on it. I'm just going to glue that down here, and you can see through a little bit what's below, and I'm not super bothered by that. I'm just going to let it be. I am going to put a piece of paper underneath of it so that the glue stick doesn't get all goopy on the page below. And I use Yoo-hoo. And so I'm just gonna, now what I like to do when I glue a paper on in a bound journal like this is I will glue one edge of the actual paper that's going to go here. So that'll be that edge. And then for the rest of the item, I'll just go around this way. And the page on the underneath is got some dimensions. It's making adding the glue a little bit challenging. And then, so this is the side that's got glue on it. So I will place that on this side and then make sure that I get it lined up. It's not quite the right length, so I'm gonna let I'll have to figure out, must have gotten some colored pencil on that, didn't realize it. So go ahead and smooth that down. Okay, so I'm going to treat this as though it was a single day rather than a bunch of days, since this is a prompt for one day. And so I want to put today's day, July 6th, on here, but I need to stamp July somewhere at the top, and I have to decide what I want to do. I was originally thinking I'm going to use these stamps. They're a little bit hard to see because they don't quite line up with what's underneath of them, but I was going to use these stamps for the day, so the 6th for the day. And I thought about using the month stamps that come here or here with it, but I'm not sure. So if I put that number 6, and that's going to be the size of the circle, and then I grab the word July. I just feel like July is too small. So I thought, okay, well, what if I also have some larger month stamps here, and I used this one last year for my journal, my junk journal July, and I love this font, but I'm not 100% sure that this works with the 6. I think this is really fancy and this is a little bit more industrial. So I'm not sure this is right either. So I was considering what I could do. And so one option would be to use this and just a different number. Another option would be to create my own lettering. And then I remembered I had these stamps, and they are, I'm not sure who actually does them. I probably could figure it out if here we go, let's see. Oh, Hero Arts. So they are by Hero Arts. I've had them for ages and ages. And so I thought maybe this could work with this a little bit better. I just want to be sure. So I've got a piece of scrap here, and I'm going to get my trusty, I'm not using markers for this. I'm going to use colored pencils, so I'm not as worried about using something that is going to bleed. But this is archival anyway. So this is Color Box. It's Wicked Black, my favorite, one of my two favorite black pens. And I'm just gonna stamp this on here just to see how it looks. And if I like it, and if I like it, then we'll go with it. One thing that's great about these stamps is it's pretty easy to see where you're going to land on the paper. So it's fairly easy to get things more or less. And then I screwed up that one. No, that's okay. This one's a little off. But I can get a sense of how they're going to look together. And these are supposed to be mounted, but I don't care. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to use it like that. As I'm looking at this, I'm sort of okay here. I'm going to set these aside. Before you think that my workspace is huge, I'm setting it aside on the floor. Set these aside as well. I kind of like the lines behind here. So I'm just gonna leave it on there and glue that down. I'm really sort of okay with that. And actually, I might add that on as well as I'm looking at it. Okay, I don't want a super raggedy torn edge here. So I'll just fold it. And I still ended up with a raggedy torn edge. Oh well. Yeah, that's way more raggedy than I intended. That's a little better. Not great, but a little better. All right, and then do want a torn edge there. And I'm going to keep these check boxes too, because they're sort of fun. And then I think I want the top. I don't know why. I want the top to be a little bit straighter. Actually, no. And of course, now I've left myself not a lot. I'm going to use these scissors. These are Fiskars decal edge scissors. Love these. Yeah, that works. Okay. And then I can stick that down. And actually what I may do is do a little bit of color behind that to make that pop a bit. Okay, so I've got that, and then I also have these, some of these stamps are bullet journaling stamps, and I think I'm definitely going to use this one. And I may use this one or possibly this one as well. But I also wanted, so I've got these are Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous, and I think it's called Celos Claros. But I have this, and I thought this would be fun to use on the page, so I'm definitely going to do that. I realized I do want to use a acrylic block to mount this, so I need to go get that. I don't really have a very good size block for this. Everything is either too big or too small, so I'm going to use this one. I'm also realizing this is a hot mess and I really need to clean it. That'll be a project for after I finish this page. All right, so slide this, pardon my glue stick, slide this stamp out. And then, let's see, put it that way. And again, I'm gonna grab my Wicked Black. Slide this over just a bit so I have some space. Oh my, it's very sticky. It's like the stamp itself is sticky. It's literally pulling the stamp pad off of the where it's mounted. It's very strange. Okay. All right, and I'm gonna put this right there. Oh, I might have squidgied it a little. Oh, well, that's horribly disappointing. Okay, the nice thing about these clear stamps is that you can go, I'm realizing it's this page underneath, it's not flat, so I didn't get a good surface. I should have done this whole page and then glued it down. That would have been the better decision, but I didn't. I actually had thought about doing that and then forgot that I thought about doing that. So we'll just put something underneath of here and make sure the ink is good to go and line it up as best I can. And hopefully, okay, it's not perfect, but I did get it lined up really well, and I'm okay with what I have here. Not gonna stress about that being any more perfect or pristine than it is now. I'm a little irritated at myself for not thinking about the fact that I wanted to glue this on at the very end rather than having to work in the notebook, but such is the way things go. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to use this again. So for now, I'm going to set it aside. I can always grab it again if I need it, and I probably don't need the block anymore. And okay, so I've got July here, and this is really, actually, I think I'm going to take this back because the back side is fine, but this page underneath has a lot of dimension to it and is going to continue to frustrate me. So I'll just eliminate that frustration by putting this underneath to work off of. Okay, so I'm thinking that's going to go there, and I'm going to use this bullet journal stamp here, and then I have some space for writing and doodling on the sides. No, I'm going to keep it there. Okay, so again, oh my. Got to be gentle when you pull these off. I've actually torn my stamps pulling too hard. That's what I get for being impatient. There. And once again, grab this. And get up. And I want it right about there. Again, I am definitely not demonstrating advanced stamping skills. And I'm gonna just have to be okay with it. As at this point, it's not, again, I'll find a way to work around it, fix it, and you know, that way you know that it's hand stamped. Okay. Don't need this block right now. I'll set that over here as well. All right. So thinking about colors, and I know I said that I wasn't going to use anything but colored pencils, but I do think I want some watercolor behind here, and then I'll go from there. So I'm thinking, you know, I had this. This came from my Hobonichi Checho for this year. It's my sort of daily journal. And I thought this was really fun, and I wanted to use this on here, but then I just decided that I didn't want to not use the I wanted to stick with the colors that I had originally planned, and this isn't really that. But I keep thinking about, I just love this image. So I think actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, although this is kind of fun also. Ooh, this is more the colors I was thinking. What else is there here? It doesn't fit as well on my page though. There are some really cool images. The QR codes kind of bug me a bit. This one's kind of fun. Maybe I could use that. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I will. I don't want to tear this here, I think. And then I'll cut it just along here. And I'll save this for something else. Maybe in the actual journal. So I like the characters here, but I think I'm going to save that for someplace else. Maybe on this page, maybe on another page. And again, this edge is a little too close for me to actually tear, so I'm just going to do that. And then I think here I'm okay. I'll just tear here. I don't mind the bottom edge, although I do want to clean it up just a little. There, then I can tuck this here. Just a little bit further. Yeah, okay, that's kind of fun. All right, so then using that to sort of jump off of from a color inspiration, I could pull out the yellow, but I think then that's too much yellow. I think I want the focus to be on the boy. He's green. So I'm going to use green. And this is my koi watercolors. And I'm just going to get my water open here. And I put my actual watercolor brushes away, and I'm feeling too lazy to go get them. But for this, just grab a generic round brush. This is number 8. And I think I'm going to use this. It comes out kind of bright green, sort of a spring green. And I'm just going to do that in the space here behind the word July. This little sliver of paper is making me crazy. So what I am going to do is just make the smallest little marks just underneath of the paper, so I have a general idea of where it's going to go, and I can put it back in pretty much the same spot once it dries. But then I know where to put the water, and once again, a little too much. Put the water down. So that it extends. Oh my gosh, the brush is shedding. Well, that is not at all what I wanted. Okay, now that I have retrieved the bristles, go back and get some paint down, so you won't actually see all of that. You'll only see this much of it. But I do want to make sure that I get the color so that it peeks out behind like that. Okay, I'm good with that. Now I need to get that dry. So I am going to use my heat tool to speed this up a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to tuck that in there, and that can go on here. And I think I am, just because this is a little curved at the moment, I think I am going to use my art glitter glue to adhere this down. Oh. kind of want to use that, but I'm not sure how. All right. So I'm looking at this, and the text on this says, 2 treasure boxes lie before you. Which will you open? And the QR codes kind of bug me. So I don't really want them on my page. So I'm contemplating what I'm going to do here. I don't know if I'm going to put something there or maybe just make a back for each of those, but that's a thought that I have. I'm not going to glue this down just yet. What I am going to do so it stops moving around is I'm going to use this X-Fasten. It's permanent tape, but I'm just going to put the smallest little bit on there because I found I can take things back off if I tack them down that way, but then I can keep them from scooching around. So it gives me a little bit of hold. All right. So next I want to, since this is thankful, I do want to add the word gratitude here. I know that's not the prompt, but I think it's going to fit better with what I am putting here. So I think I do need to turn this a little bit so I can write. Just lightly so that I have something to sort of follow. And then that's the font. This is an 08. That's what I really want. I don't have one. No, this is the biggest that I have. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. That looks pretty good. I'll let everything dry really well, and then I'll go clean up some of those pencil marks, which you probably can't see. I can. I also do, I think, want to add some color to the words here. So I'm just not sure. Got this poppy red. And then I've also got more of a magenta. I think I'm going to go with the magenta. Okay, so this is a good foundation of a page. The rest of what I'm going to do here is predominantly going to be journaling, and so I'm not going to narrate that. I am going to kind of let you follow along and see sort of how things evolve, but the next little bit isn't going to be talking. And I think that's going to be it. Let me get all of this stuff out of the way, including, that'll definitely be saved for another. And there we go. So that's it. That's my finished page. I'm pretty satisfied with the way it turned out. A few things that weren't exactly what I wanted to do, but in most cases I made lemonade out of the lemons, and overall it looks the way that I kind of wanted it to. You know what? Actually, I lied. I'm going to do one more thing. I'd like to feel like that just kind of got plopped on the page and left. So I'm going to take this Sketch and Wash, General's Sketch and Wash pencil, and I'm just going to kind of go around it a little bit. Get some of that down, and then I'm going to grab my, actually I'm not going to, I have my water right here, so I won't use my water brush. I'll just use, this brush is just devoiding itself of bristles left and right. And then take some water, go around and add just a bit of shading around this picture. Use the water to blend that a bit, just to give it a little bit more oomph, and let it stand off the page a tiny bit more than it already was. And then I also feel like there's all this color here and not a ton, so I'm just gonna, I'm not even sure, I'm not what you'd call this, or just gentle mark making, I guess. And then I'll grab that same brush, because these are distressed crayons, so they do react with water, so I can even those out just a bit. Yeah, I like that just little teeny bit of extra color there. Okay, now I really am truly done with the page, and as always, I'll include some photographs at the end with some close-ups, but there it is. And I'll save this page for another day to journal on. And there you go, day 6, thankful. Bye.